Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Austin, and it is once again my pleasure to be bringing these type of programs to all of you. I am excited, yes, again and again, with another returning podcast member who was here in 2017, who kind of brought it and showed us a different way of being beautiful and making money. And she is going to be back here again talking about her 3 C's to success. And I can't wait to hear about all of that and everything else that she's been doing since we last talked to her in 2017. So apparently the 2018 podcast is on fire, because if you look at the page, we have so many amazing people on this platform, because this is the place to be. And if you happen to miss it this year, please tune in at the end of the year to be ready to jump on the 2019 podcast going forward. Just in case you did not know, the purpose of the BMWOT podcast is to not only share our industry information, but we are encouraging you, the career seekers, the work professionals, anybody who is looking to learn more about the different trends that's going on in our industry, particularly for the minority community and how it affects us. That's why I want you to go by and check all the pages. Take a moment, listen to all the podcasts over the whole summer. We're going to have 8 weeks of podcasts this year. Last year we had 15 weeks. And so this year we're going to have 8 weeks to start. And don't forget to vote for your favorite podcast. There's so much good information here, and you can't get it anywhere else. We want to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, which are Kat Serrano, LLC, Cheryl Wood Empowers, Concern and Learning, Evangelism Radio, Genesis Preferred Solutions, J Coach International, Nels Tax Help, My Financial Home, Power, STCI, and the Student Teacher, along with our other business affiliate sponsors, and everyone who is participating in this platform to make it a success. So as promised, we're going to bring Tajiri Brackens back to the podcast. She was here in 2017 talking about how she is working as a beauty expert and a fundraising chair, and she's going to talk about a little bit about that. But you can also check out her podcast. It's also going to be here on this page. And so we're going to welcome Tajiri back to the podcast. Welcome back.
Thank you. It is truly an honor to be affiliated with this wonderful platform and being amongst these amazing women of color and men of color broadcasts. I'm just super excited to be amongst good company.
Awesome. Okay, so give everybody just a little snippet of, who you are, where you're from, Mary Kay, the Buffalo Soldiers Association of West Point, the whole deal, so that, people can get a sense of who you are. And then we're going to get right into what you're doing now and the 3 C's of success.
Super fantastic. Well, as you mentioned, I am a Mary Kay consultant, have been in this amazing business for 27 years. And of course, through being in business 27 years, an entrepreneur for 27 years, I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot, I've learned a lot. And that's been from a lot of lows to a lot of highs to something in between to lows and highs all over again, which is kind of how I came up with my 3 C's, which we'll dive into later. But again, the 27 years in business is what has really strengthened me and has been my background. Also, the fundraising chair for Buffalo Soldiers Association of West Point. We have an amazing project going on right now, which is a statue that will be erected on West Point's Military Academy that will commemorate our story of the Buffalo Soldiers. Nobody can tell our story better than we can tell our story. So it's up to us to keep that legacy going. Gosh, so many other things have been happening since we talked last year. The book is, it's done. The first book is done, which is Grow Through the Pain, Stand in Your Power.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this book, because I know you are ready to tell people about this book.
Yes, I am. So here's pretty much the premise of the book. Those things that I thought imprisoned me actually end up being the things to empower me. And I took those things that I thought were a setback, those adversities, just all those things that keep you kind of in that woe is me type of mentality and nothing is going right. And I mean, just all of that in your mind type of stuff, that just your world is ending. And, we all have experienced them. We have our own interactions with those people, places, and things that kind of put us in those situations and in that mental space and place. So I just took those that actually I thought were the death of me, and that it was the end of my life. Not saying that I was wanting to commit suicide or anything like that, but just really had me in a bad place, in a bad physical place, in a bad mental place, just a whole bad space altogether. And I took those things and used them as springboards to catapult me to my next level. So I am so excited about that book, and it's going to give you a little bit of insight as far as a couple of those things that really shifted for me, that caused me to have to pivot just a tinge to be able to move. And I am so grateful for each and every experience. Word tells us in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for good. All things, not some things, but all things work together for good. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And once I was able to internalize that and channel that so that I can use them to move forward, let me tell you, things have just been blessing and going, and there's been an elevation that I can't keep it to myself. I can't hold it to myself, and I just have to share. My experiences are here. I had to go through those things and those experiences in order to be able to help somebody else. Because life is cyclical, you see. Everybody goes through something. Everybody goes through something, and we really all go through the same things. We may, again, have a different degree of what it is that we're going through, but fundamentally, we are all going through the same things. And my experience in sharing that is going to help somebody else break through as they are going through it, and to reaffirm them, to let them know they are not alone. Sometimes when we're in those bad places and in those lows, we feel like we are the Lone Ranger, that we are on that island all by ourselves. Nobody understands.
Right.
Nobody gets where we are.
Right.
Nobody can help us get out of this. I mean, it's, again, that woe is me spirit. And sometimes it just takes us being at that place. Holy Spirit is talking to me right now.
Well, so you know what? This is a good place to pause, because, girl, you have gone, okay? You have gotten this book out, and you could not wait to talk about this book. But you know what?
Yes.
I'm going to dial it back just a little bit. So, talking about being a fundraiser chair specifically, okay? Because I think last time we talked about how you were working with Buffalo Soldiers, but I don't think we really deep dive into what it takes to be a fundraiser, period. Because a lot of small businesses, and we're going to get back to the 3 C's, because I think this ties into your 3 C's of successful businesses. Is we always talking about funding, we always talking about how we're going to get loans and things like that. But let's just talk about fundraising, because there's a lot of nonprofits who might be listening to this podcast right now, and you can actually drop some really good nuggets on here on what it takes to be a good fundraiser. What are some of the best practices to do in fundraising? And maybe if anybody wants to be a fundraiser, how would you address those 3 questions?
Well, some of the things that you need as far as being a great fundraiser, you've got to be able to connect with people, and you've got to be able to persuade them or let them see the value in what it is that you're doing in your cause, and being able to connect what they do and what they're passionate about, and helping them to see what you're passionate about, and having that common ground where both of you can meet and help each other out. I hate to use the cliche of win-win, but what can we both do in order to make this greater? Because when you have 2 together, you are a stronger force as opposed to being individual. As far as some of the other things to help be successful in fundraising, you've got to have a team. You have got to have a team. As much as we like to think that we are Superman or Superman and Superwomen, we can't do it by ourselves. We just can't. We can do nothing in this life by ourselves. So let's just even look at this like a farmer. So even though a farmer is independent and they're able to, till the ground and do whatever they need to do, they still have to rely on other people and other things in order to make their crops profitable and to be able to grow. I.e., they have to go somewhere to get the seeds for their products. They have to rely on the rain for the vegetation and being able to nurture the soil and what have you. They have to be able to go get the nourishment, fertilizer. They have to be able to get the fertilizer that they need in order to help that to grow, to get the food to pour into what it is that they want to grow. And then it's going to take time. Everything is a process. So you have to do certain things first before you can get to that next step of, okay, now that I've got my plan together, now I have to go ask for the money. You can't go ask for the money if you don't have a plan and you don't know what it is that you're going to be talking to these people about and letting them see what the vision is and what this movement is all about. So those are some of the fundamental things in order to be successful in fundraising. And you have to build relationships with people. Because if people fall in love with you, and they believe in what it is that you're doing, they will support you.
And that is certainly true. That is definitely certainly true. Now, from a career standpoint, do you need to have a certification? Do you need to have a license? Do you need to have certain education in order to be a fundraiser? Because I know that's a question that, from a career standpoint, that people who are, I would say, students that are coming out of school who like fundraising, they like doing it because it was fun, but they never really thought about doing it for a living.
Here's my 2 cents. I am not certified, bona fide, qualified as far as having those type of credentials. So I personally don't think that you have to have formal education for it. We get our best education with the relationships that we have with people, with the mentoring that we have with people. Just like with jobs, sometimes it's not necessarily what is posted, but it's who you know. And going back to what I just said earlier, if you've got a good relationship with XYZ person, Mr. X, Mr. Y, Mr. Z, or whoever it is, if you've got a good relationship with them, you can easily have a conversation with them. And then, throughout the conversation, it'll come out what it is that you're doing, what you're involved in. Just like us right now, it's kind of girlfriend talk. You're finding out some of the things that I'm involved in, what it is that I do. And based on how the conversation goes between you and that person that you desire to get those funds from, you're going to get it. And they'll be like, oh, I believe in you. I will help to sponsor you. So that's
a lot of times, we all think in our career that we can just go out and do stuff. And basically what you're saying in a nutshell, to summarize, is that relationship, that conversation and that trust that you are building with that person builds value. And you said it in like 3 different ways. I don't think it's redundant at all. I'm glad that you broke it down 3 different ways, because everybody doesn't interpret it the same. So I want people to see like the different ways in which they can build value to someone. Because, like, for example, I might think I'm a good fundraiser, and then I might be good at networking, but that doesn't mean I can raise funds. You see what I'm saying? I want people to kind of understand that if you're interested in doing fundraising, you have to have that thing that builds relationships, and you also have to build that package that builds value, so that people who want to come out of their pocket to pay for something, that they gladly do it because they know and they feel and they trust. And those are the 3 words that I was kind of getting out of that, based on your thing. So, and you do the same thing with Mary Kay too, because when you're doing your Mary Kay and people want to buy, it's the same type of thing.
Yes, and I even tell, when I'm doing some demonstrations or having my beauty experiences, which are absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, those beauty experiences are thebomb.com, especially my platinum package that I have. But I digress. But as I'm talking to them and I'm building that relationship, I'm building that rapport with them, I'm very upfront, and I tell them my goal is to have you fall in love with me and to fall in love with my product. Because once you do that, then we've got a marriage together now, and we can continue our relationship together. Because
Nice.
if you don't love me, if you don't love my products, there's nothing that we have to stand on to move forward.
I never
I
thought
mean,
about it like that, that, it's like creating a marriage, a partnership,
mhm,
or something
mhm.
like that. But that is really interesting concept. Okay, so now we're at the part we're going to talk about these three C's because this is a good time now that you just set the stage for how to build value. Let's tie that into the three C's you have been dying to tell me and everybody
Yeah.
here. Listen about the three C's. I know you're like, Ann, if you don't get to the three C's, girl. Let's get to the three. Come on with it. Come on with it. I am ready for it.
Well, I guess let me give you a little bit of backdrop as to how I came about this. As I said earlier, I've had highs and I've had lows, and I was trying to figure out what is it that I need to do to be able to bridge that gap so that I don't have the frequent lows. I want a lot more highs than I do lows. So what is it, one, that I'm good at? And what is it that's the missing secret sauce that I think people haven't grasped onto to be able to shift, to bridge that gap, to cross over that bridge and get to where they want to be versus where they actually are. So that's how I came up with the three C's. And again, this was a Holy Spirit download that happened for me because I was just sitting, being quiet in my space. And it was like, okay, what is it that is missing? What have you learned in your 27 years of being in business that you think are the critical things that you need to be able to tap into, to be able to be more successful more consistently? Gosh, there's a lot of C words that are coming out of here.
That's right.
And that's how I came up with my three C's, the three C's that a successful entrepreneur needs in order to have a successful business. And those three C's in my eyes are connection, charisma, and character. And from those three, you are going to be able to increase your sales, your business savvy is going to increase, and you're going to have more successes.
Okay. All right. So give us a little nugget of each so that we clearly understand what that really means.
What that really means. So let's start with connection, using a basic definition of connection. And that's kind of how I'll go through each of these so that we have a foundation to start with as far as what I'm working with. And this is my working definition as far as each of these words. So first, connection. Connection is a relationship with a person, a thing, or an idea that is linked or associated with something else. It's a relationship. And I've hinted on relationships thus far.
Right.
And then the second C, which is charisma, and that is a compelling attractiveness or a charm that inspire devotion in others. And the subpoint to that is a divinely conferred power or talent. So think about it. When you see somebody and they walk into that room and they command power before they even open their mouth, you look at that person and you like, wow, they got that ergo it factor. They walk with confidence. They talk with confidence. They're very warm. They're very welcome to anybody that comes into their space. They don't treat anybody any differently based on, whatever their background is, whatever their differences is that they have with whomever that is that walked into the room. And people begin to gravitate to that person because they want to know, who is that person and what's this person all about? So that's what charisma is to me. And then number three, character, which is the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. How
Wow.
many times
Okay.
have we seen on TV? I guess let me let that sit and digest a little bit because I may have just run right over that, but I think that somebody needs to sit and digest that for a minute. Character, the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual.
Wow. Okay.
So, so how many times have we seen, and we can just do a screenplay through our head of watching the news or having a conversation with somebody, and they say, "Oh, well, did you hear such and such about such and such, or whatever the situation is, or a particular instance?" And 9 times out of 10, if it's somebody that really knows that person, they'll say, "That's not her character. That's not who she is. That's not who he is.
Mm.
That's not what they're about." So when you're able to tie all three of those together, first you got to build you've got to build a connection with someone, and then that connection comes from your charismatic, your charismatic character.
Right.
You know
That's right.
how you're able to, how you do it, how you do you,
Right. It's
and
really interesting you put those three together and how you made the connection because you've already defined about the value, and then you put these three together. I'm sitting here just thinking, my mind is kind of racing that I think we do a teeny bit of these things every time, but I don't, like you said, we don't recognize that that's what we're doing. And we don't recognize that having those three attributes is really going to help us be successful. And
mhm,
we either have one or two, or maybe one out of three, or maybe none at all,
mhm.
sometimes. But it's really interesting the way you came up with the concept and really put that together. And you have this in your book. Do you have this in a book or a pamphlet that people can pick up and just kind of just ponder on that?
I don't have it in a book yet, but I do have a second book that is going to be coming out, and that's talking about leadership lessons learned. um, it's leadership lessons learned, and I won't dive too much into that book, but I will have the link for it because it's still a work in progress. But I do have some audiobooks talking about the charisma, the connection, and the character. So
Okay.
if any of your listeners want to dive into that, then definitely they can reach out and connect with me, and I will be more than happy to share those audio books with them. I will be more than happy to. And as you were talking just a second ago, as far as being able to tie all of those things in, what really helped me to hone in on that was the soft skills. A lot of times people focus on the technical skills, but the soft skills, I think, can take you further than your technical skills. I'm not taking away from that because you do have to know what it is that you're doing. But if you have those soft skills, I think they are that extra push, or that little thing that can pivot you to the left, can pivot you to the right, so that you can get what it is that you need done. I mean, think about it like a basketball player. I love basketball. That's my sport. I love me some basketball. The hardwood is my thing. So think about a basketball player. When they are on that court and they're dribbling and they've got their stance and they're trying to communicate with their team member so that they can pass the ball or do whatever needs, they're having that conversation between the two of them. They've got that connection. Oh, wow, all of this is tied together. They have that connection because they're on the same team, and they have to be able to communicate in a certain way that is just between them, that nobody else knows about. I mean, think about all of the inside jokes that we may have with people. But if that player needs to move to somewhere else on the court, they have to be careful with how it is that they're moving on that court. So the person with the ball, all they do is they pivot just a little bit to possibly go to another team member or to that same team member that has moved somewhere else on the court. A small pivot can make the difference in one of your team members being able to make the shot that can get into the basket. and you've got to win, or you've got to, extra points to further to increase the lead that you have over your opponent. So just a small pivot will shift you to where it is that you need to be.
Nice. Very, very nice. And so, are you involved in any speaking engagements or anything like that, talking about the three C's, or, that people can come and see you speak about this stuff, or maybe they can come out and have you speak at their event?
Well, I actually have a few things that are on my plate. I'm actually super excited because I've got my first international speaking engagement. We're working out the details now. Oh gosh, I can't, I can't wait. I'm super excited about that. So I can have those details to you later. I can put that in a
Yeah, just
link
give them to me
or
and
what
I will.
have you.
That's right. Give it to me and I will put it here on the page so that people don't miss a beat about what activities that you're going to be in this year, because the podcast launches on May 13th. And so if you're, involved in any kind of like speaking engagements or any other activities that you want people to know about, just definitely give that to me and I will make sure that it is on the page so our listeners can get a hold of that. I really want to encourage you to take your three C's and put it into some type of book or something like that that you can, really bring it up to another level, because a lot of times people, they see the book and they do well just by reading, and
Mhm.
having that
Mhm.
information, or just like you say, you want to share, give me that other information so that people can also get a handle of that and they can get in contact with you and, check out your webpage and all that kind of stuff, right?
Absolutely. So the website is just about done. Actually, it's really completely done. I just got a couple more things that I want to add on there, and it will have all of my programs listed on there that talk about these three C's. So we can connect that way, or I can connect with my people that way, or your people, or whoever wants to find out more about these three C's and being able to pivot so that they can have their springboard to their successes through their soft skills. So I will have, again, all of that information that is on my website. I'll forward it on over to you. And then I will even have my events and everything that I'm doing as far as speaking engagements. So it can be kind of the one-stop shop. And they can see everything in one place. So I'm excited about getting that on over to you.
Okay. And so, I have to ask you this question because you are a small business and you have definitely taken a shift and you're helping everybody to get their success. So, what do you need to thrive with your new venture and your new platform that you're going forward with? What do you need help with?
Wow. People to say some of the things that they have gotten, their nuggets that they've been able to pick up from what it is that I have shared with them, their takeaways. And if they can, say how it has helped them, how it has inspired them, that will just be super fantastic once I upload all of my events to come out and support in that way, supporting in the book. I've got my Facebook page. You can find me under the Entrepreneur's Strategist. Follow me that way. Be engaged in conversation on that page. I put a lot of things on there, again, about the three C's and being able to shift. So they can get some information from there. And then I've got a mailing list that I think that I'm going to be doing. So I've got a lot of things that are kind of up in the air, but I want to make it easy for people to be able to connect with me. Again, they can find me on Facebook under the Entrepreneur Strategist. That's going to be the probably quickest way that they can do that. And then we'll just have conversation, captivating conversations, stay connected that way. I too have a podcast that I am doing where I can hone in on those things. I had to do another platform to be able to do that from, because unfortunately the station that I was connected with, they abruptly stopped. So
Okay.
it's like, what?
So you know what? You're not going to let that. That's right. You're not going to let that stop you, because I have seen you, and
No.
I'm going to tell everybody on who's listening that Tajiri has been all over Facebook. We're both members, of speaking Facebook clubs, and she is out there doing her thing. And I'm going to tell you, we have a lot of motivational speakers out there, but when you're talking about the three C's of success, I think that Tajiri has actually said it best, breaking it down with the 3 C's that only she can do. And I think that if you're interested in having her come out and speak at your event to talk about the 3 C's of successful entrepreneurship, definitely connect with her. I will have her information down below. Also, check out all the other podcasts that we have here, because we don't want you to leave not being able to get all the information that's here on this platform. And so, Tajiri, thank you for coming back for a second time on here. I hope that this particular platform has been very useful for you to connect with other people in the community. And because
Yes.
that's what the whole idea is, to bring awareness so that you can actually make connections and build your business or build your career and things like that. And I really appreciate the support that you had last year. And I definitely appreciate you joining the movement, being part of the movement, and supporting small businesses and authors.
Absolutely. We all need each other. We can't be in this world alone. We just can't do it. Despite, again, how independent we are, we all need each other in order to survive. We have special gifts within us. I can do XYZ excellent, exceptionally well. You can do ABC exceptionally well. So when I put your ABC with my XYZ, baby,
we have the whole alphabet. We better than the song. A, B, C. Okay. XYZ. Okay. And you know what, guys? We're going to end this podcast, but we're going to continue having fun. But, again, make sure you take advantage of the BMWOC podcast, because this is the platform to be in 2019.